microphone, one that I can wear on me, because I do hear the feedback in the sound, so I apologize for that. Bear with me. But the message will still be here. Worth listening to today. So as you can see, the topic is building credit versus building wealth, and why you should focus more on building wealth. So basically, I noticed that in the younger generation, we're too focused on building our credit and having a perfect credit score. While that is all good and well, I do not think it should be our focus. I think it is more beneficial for us to think of our credit as a stepping stone to wealth building, and not necessarily the end all be all financial goal to have a really high credit score. Because at the end of the day, you can have an 800 and still be broke, or still be in debt, or still be not financially free, right? And for me, I think for most of us millennials, our goal is to be financially free. For most people, is to be financially free, whether it means you still work for other people or you own your own business. But regardless of what path you choose to take, I think building wealth generationally in our lifetimes is super important. So I'm going to go into the differences between building wealth and building credit, and why it's more important to build wealth. So first, building credit is quite simple in my opinion. I've seen a lot of people pay for services to like help them build credit. I think the only time a service is useful is when it's going to help you like take off like negative things on your credit report, like from when you were younger. But most of the time, if it was like over 10 years ago, it's already fallen off it's already fallen off being counted on against your credit score. The span is about 7 years until it is no longer counted towards your score. It may still be visible, but it doesn't count. Also, you can still do those things like removing those bad remarks on your own. Also, some rules you need to keep in mind is keep your payment history damn near perfect, if not perfect. Also, pay attention to how much available credit, how much credit you're using on a regular basis. Always keep it under 30%, preferably under 10%, because what we don't want to do is to pay for using money, right? I was in debt a few years ago, and I'm still working through some of those things, but I came to the realization that I was too focused on building credit, and I should have been more focused on building wealth through investing and all that. But another way to build credit, as I was going into, is to make sure that you have a varying amount of credit in terms of like varying types of credit, in terms of like you have mortgages, you have car loans, you have personal loans, things like that. But obviously use these debt instruments wisely, because it can get out of hand pretty quickly. Credit card, car loan, mortgage, personal loan, and I have a few other credit cards now. Now I'm more strategic about the credit cards I have in terms of like getting points, so I can travel like first class for free or at a discounted rate. So now I've done videos on that, and I'll put a link up here on, the top 3 credit cards I recommend for travel, because that's my main source of entertainment lately, for years. But okay, so that's how you build your credit. It is not rocket science. It's all over the internet. You can Google the things I'm telling you about. I'm just giving you like research points going forward. To build wealth, I don't want to say complicated, but there's a lot more like different ways that it's possible to build wealth. But there are some a few cornerstones that most wealthy people have in their wealth building strategy that I want to share with you guys today. So first, ownership, ownership. And by ownership, I mean ownership of property. Real estate is the biggest source of wealth for most wealthy people. Even if that's not their primary, if it's not their primary source of income, they still tend to own a lot of real estate. It has a lot of tax breaks. It has a lot of benefits. It's not for the faint of heart, but if you do your research and you take your time and choose a path that you are going to be comfortable with in real estate, whether it's buy and hold or buy and flip, or being a real estate agent, real estate ownership is super important to having sustainable long-term legacy level wealth. Another cornerstone, in my opinion, in my experience, is knowing tax law. If you live in the United States, tax law is so important. I took tax classes in college, and I learned a lot about tax law. I became interested. It's not really like exciting stuff, but you should know, even if you have a CPA working on your business or your portfolios, you should know general tax laws. You should be into tax planning. These are things that can sound intimidating, but are very, very important in order to build wealth. Instead of spending a lot of time and energy building your income just to pay a lot of it to the IRS. There's a lot of ways you can tax plan and know tax laws in order to minimize your tax liability. So another cornerstone is increasing your income. Now, a lot of people talk about, oh, don't spend the $5 at Starbucks every day. Don't, all these little expenditures that you do. Yes, I get it. There's a compounding effect of how you spend your money that can have an impact on wealth building, but those things don't matter as much as increasing your earning potential by opening a business that can eventually run without your active participation, or basically leveling up in your career and getting paid more and more, and using that extra income to invest more into like the stock market or into buying real estate properties. Like, all of that is super important, and it's based on increasing your income more and more and more each and every year. And that should be your focus. Less focus on saving $5 a week or $5 a day at Starbucks. That's never going to make you rich. I'm sorry. That's just my opinion. Also, the last cornerstone that I personally think is important, because 4 cornerstones, a square, whatever. Investments in passive income assets, right? Okay, so you earned a lot of money. Yes, you bought real estate, but how are you going to continue to invest this money so it continues to grow and you can get to a point where you're not working at all or as much, or you have more options, and you have financial freedom? My personal definition of financial freedom is being able to do whatever I want, whenever I want, with whoever I want. In terms of the people I care about who are in my life, not just whoever, anyway. So in order to afford a life like that, I would need to have a income that replaces my current earned income right now. And I'm working on that. I'm like halfway there, but it's important to know that building your passive income and through investments and passive income producing assets like stocks that pay dividends is a very, very important cornerstone. Because at the end of the day, who wants to continue to exchange a irreplaceable asset like time for money? What we want to get to a point in wealth building is to get to a point where You don't have to work in order. You don't have to be an active participant in making money. And that's what passive income means. Earned income is the money that you make at your job because you're actively having to work to put in the hours to make the money that you make. But when you make passive income, you are literally not having to put in any work or having to put in very minimal work, but the money continues to come in a steady fashion. So you could start a company and then, you know, delegate everything and automate everything to the point that you're not actively doing anything or involved on the day-to-day activities in the company, and you just get paid a dividend from that. You can buy stocks, and I'm going to talk about that next week, stocks that pay dividends. And you know, you buy a certain number of stocks, you know, they get paid every quarter, and you know, you just wait for your dividend and you get that, and you get taxed differently than someone who gets paid an earned income. That's why a lot of millionaires and billionaires barely pay anything, because they do their tax planning, they own properties, so they get tax breaks, they have a lot of passive income. They're not actively participating in their businesses as well a lot of times, which to me, that's financial freedom. So anyway, I kind of went off on a tangent here, but hopefully you found this video useful. Like I said, next week I'll be talking about some good dividend paying stocks that I found and I hope to invest in soon. And so yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and like and subscribe. I have so much more content, and even better, if you're even interested in luxury, I do unboxings, I talk about the best things to get from each brand if you're new to luxury, things like that. So actually that's what I'll be talking about this Friday. So go ahead and like and subscribe, and I will see y'all on Friday. Bye.